The next thing, to make sure that customer service happens, we have induction training. Now, this is one of the things that's different from when we started. When we started off in gyms, we used to take people out on the road for a couple of days. That was it. That was their training. These days, we do it a lot more carefully. Usually before somebody even signs, they have a 3-day induction course. And a very crucial part of that course is a talk about customer service, what we expect from our franchisees. We also have ongoing training in terms of meetings and so forth. There's sections on customer service in the manual, so we press it that way. We have a system too which actually asks each franchisee to define what services they want to offer, what suburbs they're prepared to offer them in, and what days they want to do the work. And what that means is only if a franchisee says, I want to do this service on this suburb on this day, do we actually give them the lead. Now, we found from experience that is the best way to drive customer service, because we never actually give a job to a franchisee who hasn't already said, yes, I want that job. And given that, why should they not turn up and give the client a quote? We also have a couple of systems that are specifically designed to deal with reducing the level of complaints and making sure people turn up. And the first of these is a system we call lead fees. Now, most franchise systems, as you know, work on a percentage of turnover. People like McDonald's, the retail, they take 11% or whatever it is, including advertising. That's not usual in the service industry. Some service businesses use it, but mostly in the service industry, in Australia at least, we use a flat rate. So the franchisees simply charge $450 per month, and that's their fees, advertising and everything. Now, in gyms, we use a different system. It's something we've worked out over several years to be the most effective. We charge a flat rate, but not as high as our competitors, usually about $100 or so below. And that's the same, doesn't matter what happens, doesn't matter how much work. On top of that, we charge a small lead fee. Now, this isn't a fee for a job, it's a fee for a lead. And the crucial reason we do that is because we found from experience that if we charge a lead fee, franchisees very rarely fail to quote. Because of the incentive, because if they don't want the job, they won't take it in the first place, and if they get it, they've already spent money for it, so they're very careful to follow it up. So we get a lot less unhappy customers, and we tend to pick up a lot more clients per lead. We monitor all complaints that come into the system. Any customer who has any sort of problem with one of our franchisees and rings the office, whether they're 1 minute late or poor work or no matter what it is, we register a special kind of message called a complaint. And that's actually paged to the franchisee with the word complaint in it. Name, address, phone number, job details, the word complaint, and then what's happened. You know, rang at 9 o'clock, not here, didn't phone back 11:30, whatever. Now, a copy of that message actually goes to the franchisor. And the franchisor then rings the franchisee to discuss the complaint. So what we try and do is deal with it, try and find out the reason. Why didn't they ring back? Did they not have their mobile phone on them? Is it not functioning? Is there something wrong? Maybe they didn't write it down. Whatever the reason, and we try and deal with that. We find most franchisees get very, very few complaints. Typical franchisee gets 0 to 1 per year. Very, very rare. With a very small minority, which is again under 10% that get too many complaints, and especially the even smaller group that gets 6 or more complaints in 6 months, we actually have a process where we write them a letter and we put them on notice. If necessary, if they continue to get complaints, we'll bring them in for further training, which means they might have to fly to Melbourne. In the end, if they continue to get too many complaints, we will take them off work and we'll ask them to sell their business, because we will not tolerate poor service to our customers. The core aim is to amaze the customer. Well, how do we do that? Now, for example, when I was a mowing contractor, back 20 years or so ago, one of the things I always used to do was I'd clean the paths entire. It doesn't just mean blowing the grass off, It also means if there's bark and stuff in the garden, I blow that off too. If I went to the back garden to do the edging with my brush cutter and I was walking down the driveway, I keep the brush cutter going, I take the grass from the cracks and make sure that was cleaned off. I do those little extra things, and the customer mightn't even consciously notice that something was different, but all they'd know is their place looks different to what has ever looked before. There's just something about it that's smart, that's excellent. An example, we had a cleaning franchisee who used to rearrange the cushions on a customer's bed. Now, a very small job, but very important to the customer. And he found that out because one time he didn't have the time, he forgot, he just didn't do it. It's like took 20 seconds to put these little throw pillows on, and he forgot that. And the customer was so upset. And I said to him, that just shows you, that is the kind of thing that's amazed the customer. It's a little thing, but it's important to them. So always look for the throw pillows, always look for the grass, for the cracks. Find something little that you can do that will the customer say, wow,